Good morning. Today is Saturday, June 16th, 2018. I'm your host, Joseph, and you're watching CryptoSonar. Stay tuned, and let's get right to it. So let's take a quick look at what's going on in the markets. We go over to coinmarketcap.com, and as you can tell, it's been brutal over the last few months, right? So market cap is down to $275 billion in market cap. So that is quite a steep drop from the 300s that we've been in. Bitcoin currently at 64.14, Ethereum 491.46. You can see here, you know, they recover a little bit and then they slide back, and we're going to look at a chart in a little bit. Ripple currently at right around 52.6 cents. Hoping that goes down to about zero. They have apparently a new logo. They got rid of their fidget spinner logo, as I like to used to refer to it as. And now they've got kind of this X thing going on. Haven't really looked into it. Don't care. Bitcoin Cash 843.15. EOS 1044. We're going to talk about them and their mainnet and their freeze that they had, that they're having problems with their mainnet and some of the block producers, and some of them are still producing blocks while the mainnet is apparently paused. Litecoin 94.74. Stellar XLM 22.8 cents, Cardano 88, 16 cents, IOTA $1.17, and rounding out the top 10, Tron at 42 cents. So let's get into the charts. Take a quick look at Bitcoin. Again, this is something that I drew, and I left this chart up here specifically because I wanted to show you the effect of what's happened, and we'll go into sentiment and a little bit later on. As you can see, I think we're at 39.9% BTC Bitcoin dominance in the market, and so 24-hour volume overall right about 10 billion or so. So quite a big drop. But look at what happened. We drew this channel. And we talked about what we thought might possibly happen somewhere right around here. And it started this ascending triangle. And pretty much while I was doing a video is when this drop occurred. And it basically went right off the deep end from there. And I said, okay, if this ascending triangle was correct, we might see something positive happen around the 12th or 13th. But at the time, it was basically dropping as I was filming. You can look at, I think it was episode 4 and episode 5 that talked about that. And then we go over to the 4-hour chart and we say, okay, so where are we going to look at in terms of the daily chart? I'm sorry, the daily chart. And let's take a quick look here and scroll around. And we see that, it's pretty much, it's been an ugly run. And again, we've got support down here right around at this level. Let's call it, it's kind of already broken through that a little bit, right around 63, right around the 6,300 level, somewhere right in that range. And we're currently at 63.78 right now. So if it breaks, who knows, right? Nobody really knows what's going to happen, but it's definitely interesting what's happened on the daily charts and even the 1-hour charts, and taking a look at everything that's going on. It's pretty much gone off of a cliff. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a little while, but there were a ton of speculators in the market. Now maybe not so much. So some of the news items that came out this weekend, and some of them over a couple days, is the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission in the U.S. There was an article over on News BTC, again, one of the sites that I check, and it says that Ethereum futures may emerge soon as the SEC clarifies Ether is not a security. Now, one of the things that happened with Bitcoin this week in particular is that the futures expired. So all those short sellers needed to drive that market down so that, is it possible now they will try and raise it up by going long for the July futures? Who's to say, right? Who knows? It's a mind game. So the SEC came out and said, just like BTC, Bitcoin, they said Ethereum, ETH is not a security. And of course, there are folks like me that don't consider any of these a security. So they're currencies, right? And so they do have an opportunity for a store of value. And so the CBOE, Chicago Board's Options Exchange, says the SEC ruling opens the way for Ether futures. If that happens, you may see, possibly Ethereum may trade different from BTC and finally break that alignment that everything is so tracked to Bitcoin that when Bitcoin goes up, the altcoins go up. When Bitcoin goes down, the altcoins go down. Sometimes when Bitcoin goes up, if it's in a narrow range, the altcoins will go down, and reciprocal of that as well. Or I'm sorry, reverse that as well. And so it's really something that, we'll see what happens. The news is not as good for Ripple as comments Director Hinman made Director Hinman may define Ripple's XRP coin as a security. And of course, Ripple has a new logo out. Their logo no longer looks like a fidget spinner. And, Ripple is owned by the banks. I call them banksters. It's a common term on the internet. And so that's just something that I'm not interested in dealing with or purchasing or owning as as an opportunity to grow in the blockchain. So one of the things that also came out, Ethereum is going to be combining Casper and sharding. Sharding, what that allows to do is they're trying to eliminate all the GPU miners that are out there because they take up so much electricity, and they're speeding it. They want to speed up their block times basically by saying that transactions will be confirmed by those that are staking Ethereum or those that put up a stake of their Ethereum. And it used to be 1,500 Ethereum, and now Vitalik Buterin has basically come out and said, well, we may lower that as low as 32, which is about 15,000 US dollars at today's price. So if that happens, will I, take some Ethereum and stake it and try and earn some income that way? Who knows? We'll see. And so what Casper and sharding upgrades, they want to possibly combine those, and it's basically the Ethereum core devs meeting number 40 took place on Friday, June 15th. And the key point is rescheduling the release of two main Ethereum chain upgrades such as Casper and sharding. Casper should have been released as a smart contract separately from the sharding upgrade. However, the new proposal suggests that Casper may be released on a shard or a sidechain instead. And so as far as timing-wise, I think I had read that they're kind of looking at it as possibly, another 5 months from now, etc. One of the specs of the update reduces the block reward for miners from 3 ETH down to 0.6 ETH. So again, that's going to drive out a lot of miners. And here's a comment about taking those that want to stake, taking it from 1,500 ETH as a requirement all the way down to 32, which would make participating in staking more viable for those that choose to do so. And so it will allow the developers, Buterin said, it will allow the developers to launch Casper without disturbing the Ethereum network, claiming that Casper is more separate from the main chain. So that could be some good news down the road, maybe possibly some bad news for miners. There's a lot of other coins out there that cryptocurrency miners can mine. And what mining is they are confirming the transactions or the smart contracts that exist on the Ethereum network. On Bitcoin, they're confirming the transactions that exist on the Bitcoin blockchain on that network. And so that's what miners do. They confirm the transactions. And it takes a consensus or a group of them to confirm the transactions before the transaction is basically certified and allowed to propagate the rest of the nodes that are out there in the network. So that could be good news as well. Something else that came out is EOS. And if we take a quick look at EOS and what's going on with them, they had a run up. They released their mainnet. Now it's been kind of going up, going down. We can take a quick look here and say, okay, its last run up was about 20% in a day, right around the middle of the 13th, right around noontime on the 13th. And then, of course, then it slipped back down a little bit over 1 day through current, down about 9%. So again, it's in this sideways channel a little bit since this mainnet came out. But one of the issues that they experienced yesterday was their mainnet has experienced a freeze 2 days after launch. So, So they're trying to identify it. They're scrambling to do it. It's basically there's blocks that are still being produced, and they're going to have to put a network out there. And again, this is block one. There's a lot of things going on around EOS. I do not own EOS. I don't think it's something that I want to get into. There's many reasons out there. You can Google Brock Pierce background, and he let himself go of that allegedly in March, and I don't know that I'd buy it, but I really don't want to be involved in that network at all. Is it a scam? Is it another BitConnect? I don't know. However, it's not worth the risk to do that. And the fact that it froze and they were able to freeze the network, is it decentralized? Well, if you can freeze a network, not so much. It's not something I don't know. It's something I want to be involved in. All right, next up, there was a site I found in one of the news groups that I follow over on Facebook, and it's basically, do I own an S-coin? You can call it whatever you want. We're going to try and keep this PG. So the posters of this website said that there was two people apparently, and I believe it's two he's, but who knows? So we'll just use they. They basically designed this site in a 1 to 2 hour period, and you basically type in a coin and let you know if it is an S coin. So we'll type in BTC, Bitcoin. It says, is this a serious question? Bitcoin is king. Bitcoin is gold. Bitcoin is. So you have that there. Litecoin, LTC. LTC, this is a fast S coin, may as well hodl. Hodl, again, it came off of somebody that was drunk in a chat room years ago, meant to write hold and wrote hodl, and basically the meme on that is, or the meme is basically hold on for dear life. So that one's there. EOS, mid-tier S coin mainnet launch was delayed due to vulnerabilities. Let's see how they do. And of course, now their mainnet is actually paused. Bitcoin Cash, or Bcash as some people like to call it, me included. You chose poorly. I don't own it. I don't want to own it. You know, what they're doing to Bitcoin to try and drive Bitcoin down and basically claim ownership of the Bitcoin name is shady as you know what. Not interested in doing it. XLM, Stellar, good job. You selected a top tier S coin, not a S tier S coin. So something about that right there. And let's see, Ripple, sure, we'll take a look at Ripple. XRP, do you like centralized cryptos? Again, no, I do not. So that was a site that came up there, and it was certainly interesting to look at. You can go over there if you want and take a look at that. So again, wrapping up, some of the things that I see going on, and this is just, you know, one of the channels I was looking at that I drew last week as well. I like to leave it up. If you like this content, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, as well as hit the bell notification. You'll be notified when I upload a video. So the last thing I want to talk about today, and then we're going to cut it, is basically why do I believe in this technology? Why do I believe that this is good for the global economy, for the U.S. economy? Why are regulators scrambling to say good things about it and then clean up the ones that aren't doing good things? Because blockchain is here. If you look at the patents, the banksters, Chase, JP Morgan, Bank of America, I talked about it last week, each of those three, along with Goldman Sachs, etc., they hold more patents in this industry in the United States than a lot of other folks do. And even the Winklevoss twins that own Gemini are patenting different things that happen on the blockchain. Why is this good? So I came up with a couple things. Regulation. A lot of folks keep saying, oh, it'll go back up when the institutions get in, when the institutions get in, when the institutions get in. Well, the institutions can already do futures over on the CBOE as well, so they have that opportunity to do that now. They can short Bitcoin. That's probably what's been happening. They let it rise up again and then boom, slam it back down again. Basically to get people to get in, slam them, drive it down, sell short, and they sell short at that top and then create a new bottom, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So what that's doing is that's driving a lot of the speculators out. A lot of folks that got into cryptocurrencies only for the gain instead of for the good of what it can do for the economies of the world. And I really do believe in the technology. I think it's going to change business. I think that corporations have a great opportunity to move things over even to an intranet blockchain to allow their logistics, their shipping, their products, verifications, accounts receivable, all of that to do a lot better and be a trustless peer-to-peer transaction and kind of remove some of the middlemen. I think that's good news. So as this market does continue to go down, it's driving those folks out. Hence why the market cap is currently at $275 billion, down from the 300s and even the 400 it was back in December. One of the other reasons is regulations. Again, if they're going to enact regulations, and whatever the U.S. does, a lot of the Western economies basically follow those regulations along with the United States. They tweak it for their own markets and go from there. Number 3, miners, whether it's Ethereum or Bitcoin, the miners. If it gets too expensive, I saw one report where it said Bitcoin is going to cost in the neighborhood $20,000 to mine one Bitcoin by the end of 2019. If that happens after the halving, when the Bitcoin goes down from 12.5 down to 6.25 Bitcoin, and that price drives up, will the miners keep mining? They probably will, but they're going to hold on to their Bitcoin. They're not going to sell it because they will need to hold on to it for a speculation ride so that they can sell it at a higher price to offset the cost of their mining. Where they're profitable right now, I think the cost is somewhere around $2,600 to $6,000 per Bitcoin right now, depending on electricity costs. So the miners, so as they hold on to that supply, they don't sell it to pay for their electricity or to pay for their miners or their infrastructure to mine it. They're just going to hold on to it if this price keeps going. So it's something that the speculators are moving out, the miners need the supply, and then the final thing is simply sentiment. Okay, this is important. If there are, let's say, 15, 20 million accounts on Coinbase or wallets in the United States alone, and we're a country of 300 some odd million people, if there's however many million people involved in cryptocurrencies and they're not, and how many billions more still have an opportunity to get in down the road, this is going to happen. Governments cannot stop it. It can be a good thing for governments, the economy, business, and people. I would urge you to take a quick look at things. Again, this is not financial advice at all. Do your own research, pay attention to the disclaimers at the beginning and end of this video, and then go from there. So what's going to happen this week? I have no idea. I hope it bounces a little bit and then we build, maybe build some new support walls around the $6,500 level of Bitcoin. Maybe Ethereum can jump back up into the 5s. Again, it used to be all the way up into the 7s not that long ago in the middle of May, and boy, it just slid right back down again. And so that's getting a lot of people leery. The volumes have certainly gone down compared to what they used to be. A little bit of buying and selling right here. We had some good things going on basically on the 14th, a couple days ago, and Ethereum had a nice little rise of about 9.61% in a 5-hour gap, and then it slid back down. But again, it might be building slower, smaller support levels along the way. What is that going to predict? Who knows? Stay tuned. All right, that's it for today on Saturday, June 16, 2018. I'm your host, Joseph. Thanks for watching. You've been tuning in to CryptoSonar. Have a great day. Stay crypto and keep the faith. Bye now.